that. Perfect. Ooh, how we missed this thing. Look at that. Nice. Yeah. I want to make mention of one thing, guys. I actually came through here yesterday and pruned the squash. Pruning squash, summer squash, is everything. It keeps down the powdery mildew. It keeps the insects where they can see the blooms. It's really very beneficial to keep summer squash pruned, whether it's the yellow crookneck, the yellow straight neck, zucchinis. Any of this summer squash need to be pruned on a regular basis. Look at these plants. I'm gonna have to get down and get under this one. Trying not to damage my plants. Look at that. Beautiful, man. I mean, just beautiful. Okay. All right, we got a pretty good harvest this morning in the bucket here. That's a pretty good mess. That's almost a half a 5-gallon bucket. Now y'all probably noticed me going through here picking out these like this here. Putting them in the bucket. We'll feed these to the chickens. What happened is these did not pollinate. And that was partially my fault, because I didn't prune my plants when I should have. They were just matted with leaves, and the bees just didn't see a lot of the blooms. They were the first ones to come on. And then some of them was under this netting here, which we realized that was keeping the pollinators from getting in here. So we took the netting off, and we're going to probably leave it off. And you can see a considerable difference. These three right here are all leaning over. All the rest of them down through yonder look beautiful and standing up nice and tall. So it's probably going to be best that we don't use that netting on the squash. I think that that was probably not the best decision that we made in the beginning. I'm sure it has applications that will work perfect for what it's intended for, but it wasn't good on the squash because the squash was not getting enough light through it. It wasn't getting the pollination in it that it needed. And I'll give you a for instance right here. I'll show you something. I'm going to cut one of these off of here. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Look how long that is. That was reaching for sunlight through that netting stuff. And that's not what we want. We want shorter, sturdier stems. These big long stems have a tendency to break off, but you know, There's always something good about stems like this. You know, you can take your knife and you can cut above the top of it there before you get into the hollow part. And you can actually, I don't know if my blade is sharp enough on that one or not. Let's see here for a moment. See if I can make this happen. My knife's got so much stuff on it right now. I've been doing so much with it. Get them thorns off of it. I used to do that with my kids in the garden. We used to make these squash horns for them, and I'd let them come play with them in the garden. And they would run around with them for till they wilted. Just put them in their mouth. And I want to show you, if you can get up close, all I did was took my knife and just cut in and made a little reed right there in the hollow part. And left this end solid. Don't cut into it. If it's hollow there, it won't work. It's got to be in the solid part. See the end? Completely solid. And then you just toys in the garden for kids, which makes gardening fun for kids, especially when they're of a younger age. So one of them things I thought I'd just throw out at you. You might can enjoy it with your children in the garden. They're down in all of them. The peaches and cream. The worms love them as much as we do. Look at that. It ain't even silking good and they're eating them. Okay, guys, we just learned a lesson. We come walking through our sweet corn. It's tousled a lot earlier this year than we've ever seen sweet corn do. Of course, this is peaches and cream, and we don't know anything about it. But I noticed in the tops of them, I kept seeing some problems. And I looked in there where they're tossling up at. Every one, we probably got 50 worms out of the tops of our corn here. And it's not even finished tossling yet. We went down and had some little silk started on some. Took and pulled the leaves apart, got worms out of them also. So we're at a point where we've got to come every day now, morning and evening, and check our corn to make sure that the worms have not started on it worse than what they are. Because last night, evidently, it was perfect yesterday. Last night was evidently the egg laying night or the hatching night or something, I don't know. But we don't like spraying on anything on our corn. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you can use mineral oil on your silks and stuff like that. Guys, I've got all this sweet corn here. It would take me hours and hours just to come through here and treat every little thing. So it's easier for us just to come through every morning. And if we see a worm, just get him, because you know what? In just a few minutes, the chickens are going to really enjoy all these worms. So, lesson learned. Check your stuff daily. One day could have ruined this if I hadn't have checked it.
Oh yeah, they know what it is.
We throwed all the worms out to the baby chicks. They've all figured out finally what they are. It's their first time to see worms, I think. I think they've enjoyed it this morning. They are definitely found out that the worms are a treat. So we'll be bringing them out. The rest of them are all stuck up in the building over there. They don't want to come out. They want to stay in there where it's dark at, I reckon. They finally figured out what the head of lettuce was yesterday, or cabbage. They pecked it to death good. They've been enjoying it. We're trying to get them trained to eating more free range. We can't just turn them loose yet. They're not really adapted to it, so we're going to make sure that they get tied in here and get going good. Alright, y'all will peck on them all day long. I know you will. One more worm right here. Maybe they'll see it. And they'll eat the worms.
These are the egg layers.
Yeah, matter of fact, you say egg layers, I probably need to check. Got a couple of them here this morning. They've already ate one this morning. You want to just let them go?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, chick. They love that green stuff. They'll fill up here in a minute and then they'll be ready to go back in. Doing what they like to do, scratch. Ooh, they done got in the mint. I smell that mint.